Today on The Frequency, we have the award-winning director and screenwriter, Chanel Dupree, as we tackle a subject that is so important, the adultification of young Black girls. With her new film called You Think You're Grown, perfect title, we talk about how it affects Black women and dismantling the system, right here on The Frequency, as it starts right now. Welcome to The Frequency. I'm your host, Dee Barnes. And like I told you, today's show is very, very important. We're talking about the adultification of young Black girls. And with me today, I have a young filmmaker, an award-winning screenwriter and director, Chanel Dupree. And we're going to talk about her new documentary called You Think You've Grown. Chanel, please join me on this subject. Thank you and welcome to The Frequency. How are you?
I am amazing. Being on this show, I just feel 10 feet higher. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for coming on. And you are amazing. I looked at some of your previous works. We have to get into that also. And to be so young and so dedicated to your craft is like, it's amazing. So I got to get into your whole background. First, where are you from? Let's just start there. Where are you from? And tell me about you growing up. And what transitioned to make you want to be a filmmaker?
So I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, born and raised, Brownsville specifically.
Okay.
So if anybody knows about Brownsville, even Brooklynites, don't go past my block. It is Pride Rock, okay? It is very, very tough, very community-based. And the moment I saw Eve's Bayou at 8 years old, something happened internally. It was that movie, and it was The Women of Brewster Place. And something moved within me, and I was like, I want to do that. I didn't really quite understand, raised by a single mother. She's a, working class woman. I was just like, I don't really know how to do that. At the same time, I was understanding that poetry was becoming a language of mine, a way for me to express myself through the ebbs and flows of just like Black girlhood. And so around 19 years old, I started to take on the career as a performance poet. And within that career, it was nice. It was fun. I was performing and, publishing poems, but I would find myself seeing scenes. Like I'm writing the poem, but I'm like, okay, what about this act? And what if they move over here? And what if that happens? And one of my last fellowships I did, it was called Winter Tangerine. I had a poetry exercise, and I wrote a script instead. And I was like, okay, I need to stop denying this thing. Like, do it. And I saw an interview with Ava DuVernay, love her. And she was just like, I was 35 years old and I picked up a camera. And the rest is history, because I just had always wanted to do it. And so I wrote my first film, and the rest is history.
Wow. What was your first film you wrote?
Shoulders.
Shoulders. So Shoulders was the first one. Okay. Give us a little bit of background about Shoulders.
So Shoulders is a little bit autobiographical. It follows the life of this young lady who's just got into a really bad argument with her mother, and she goes to her best friend's house, and we see this community and this love between these two platonic figures. And it was dedicated to my best friend and the Black women in my life that have picked me up and poured into me when I felt like I didn't have anything left. And that was my first film, and I had no idea what I was doing. How did you
walk us through how you made the process? Like, how do you take, did you go to film school?
So there is a place in Brooklyn. It's called Brick Arts Media. I did a couple of screenwriting classes there. I did some, directing classes, understanding shots, understanding how to communicate on a set. So once I understood, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for it. I was like, let me perfect this craft. I don't want to just walk in and be like, I'm going to be a filmmaker and know nothing. There's still so much learning, but I was like, let me get some of these tools first. So I took a couple of screenwriting classes, a couple of direction classes, camera classes to understand. And I'm in my sister's apartment in Virginia, and I just start writing. And I hit up my friend, Kiara Armony, a dope filmmaker. And I'm like, I just wrote a script. Can we shoot it? And then I grabbed all of my friends who are all actresses who really needed a reel and material to show. And we just did it for $300.
Wow.
2 days. Yeah.
And shot in how many days?
2 days.
2 days. Okay.
Yeah, we used our two friends' apartments that allowed us to use it for free. Community. That's
right.
And it reignited the purpose of the film. That so many Black women came together to allow me to film in their house, and I'm making a film about this beautiful friendship. So
that is amazing. Oh wow, what a blessing. Okay, so once the film was done, what did you do then?
So right after the editing process, I said, okay, I want to get this out to the community. So I started planning different screenings around Brooklyn. And from there, people started acknowledging the film and also acknowledging me. And I did a lot of panels to discuss the film. Eventually, Black Film Space, which is a great organization in New York for Black filmmakers, they had a mixer. And I got a chance to meet Latasha, another dope filmmaker. She has her own streaming service. And from there, it's on YouTube. And from there, I sent her the film. She loved it. And my first baby was able to be on streaming, but I took it around for about a year for different screenings. I had no idea about film festivals.
Right. It was a learning process. That's dope.
All of it. And I don't regret it. I like that I kind of just dove into it and just said, okay, I'm just going to learn this crazy thing. And it turned out to be so beautiful. And I'm glad that it's in the world because it's a piece of my life,
Exactly. What an inspiring story. Okay. So then once you tackled that and you accomplished it, what was your next goal? Like, as far as your career path, what did you feel?
And this was very difficult for people to understand. Once I stepped into the directing and writing side, I said, okay, now I want to be all the other roles. I want to know what the PA does. I want to know what the
Right.
CA does.
Smart.
Because a lot of people want to sit at the head, but the rest
Mm-hmm.
of the body is very necessary. The head can't move because the rest of the
Exactly.
body's dead. So I was like, I want to learn what it's like to be a PA, a script supervisor. I want to do first AD work. I want to do that. So after Shoulders, I made a conscious effort to be on so many other sets. I
Right.
was either running to get props or helping out with art, like anything I can do, so that when I did step back into the film that I wanted to do, my next film eventually, I could know exactly what I'm asking for and exactly
Right.
what the requirements are because I've worked that job. And
That is so important. Let me share this with you. I worked at I actually had a video production company with my husband, who Ricky Harris, the comedian.
oh my God.
Yes. He passed away in 2016, but we had a production company called Eastside Entertainment, and I did the same exact thing you did. I took on all the roles just to see how the process worked, with the PA all the way down to, directing, even storyboard, because I like to, do drawing. I like to sketch. So that's a great way to know. And you said something key. It's about knowing what you're asking for. That is so key with that. So I'm glad you did that, and it helps you, evolve and develop your story.
It does. And it helps you develop your execution as a leader.
Right.
As a director, you're the head of all of that. And I think a lot of times people just want to be at the head, but they don't want to work those humbling positions to really understand.
Exactly.
You don't know the ins and outs, the emotional and mental capabilities that come into someone who has to PA, who has to support,
Yep.
only on set for that, who has to hold a boom for 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You just know that I want you to do it. But when you
Right.
step into those shoes and step into that space, you humanize those that you hire for the future.
Exactly.
So you can understand where the requirements are, and you're not just dictator and do that.
Right. There's a level of respect there that you have for them. Exactly. Oh man, that's so smart of you. So smart. Shout out to mom. She raised a real one. She raised a real one. Okay. Listen, what was the next film?
So the next film was Next Stop. I made a microfilm. It's a surrealistic dark comedy about a woman returning home after being kicked out of her place. During that time when I am first ADing and scripting and PA and all that stuff, I was a part of a beautiful web series entitled Juju. And they needed an extra actress. They did not, somebody fell through.
Right.
And I had been acting since I was 9 years old as well, because I was just like, I have all of this going on. I need to be on stage. Once writing took over, I did kind of put acting to the side, because I was like, oh, this is what I really should be doing. And so they was like, oh God, we need an actress. Chanel, can you step in? I was like, sure, girl. And they just said, okay, just improvise some lines.
Right.
And it turned out to be incredible. And the crew was laughing. The director was like, everything was great. And I was like, oh, wait, I missed this. Okay, girl, what is this feeling that we feeling again?
Right.
Step back into this acting thing. So for Next Stop, I'm looking for the actress. There's only one actress as the main character. And I was just like, let me just do it.
Yes.
It felt so good, because it was also, again, another autobiographical story. After COVID,
Yeah.
so hard to keep on my feet. And there was a moment where I wasn't on my feet and I did have to go back, and just grappling with all of the mental capacities, also being like, I'm almost 30 and we're told societally, like, at 30, I'm supposed to have my own place. I'm supposed to have a dog. I'm married. I'm supposed to have this. And now I have to go back to a source that does cause a lot of pain.
Right.
It was a lot mentally. So that was my comedic, creative way of processing.
Dealing with processing. Did you go through any depression?
Yes. Oh,
because I noticed that a lot of young people around, your age, deal with that, the anxiety and depression. And I think COVID in particular, elevated that to another level.
100%, 1,000%. Yeah.
How did you deal with that while also trying to stay creative?
So I'm a person, a lot of times people create from the wound. I can't create it unless it's been healed, or at least I found the medicine to heal it.
Ooh.
So in the middle of the depression, I leaned heavily on meditation, heavily on prayer. I have a therapist that I go to every day. Shout out to you. And my friends, honestly, because we were all dealing with it at the same time. We're all like worried about, are we gonna die? Like, it was people our age dropping like flies.
Yes.
Are we gonna make it? I have a lot of immune deficient friends. They're worried. So we all had like a group chat where we were able to like just spew out all of our sadness.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, between like therapy, meditation, I did some running that really helped.
Right. Self-care.
Self-care.
The bottom line was self-care.
And not running away from that feeling.
And not running away from it and facing that. Well, that's what we're going to get into next. We're going to take a break first, but we're going to talk about not running away from the fact that young Black girls and the adultification. I mean, this is something, like I told you, your title, You Think You've Grown? We're going to get into that when we come back right here on The Frequency on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
An angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate Black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Welcome back to The Frequency. I'm your host, Dee Barnes, and we are still talking to my guest, Chanel Dupree, about her new film, her latest film, You Think You've Grown. And it's about the adultification of Black girls. Chanel, join me, please.
Yes.
First, before we even get into this, because I really want to break down this subject matter. One of the process that you do for your film, being an independent filmmaker, is you raise the funds yourself, right? So I want to talk about your Kickstarter in regards to this film.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we finished principal photography in September, thanks to some amazing donors that we had with our first campaign. They came out, showed out. So now we are in post-production for the film. We have finished filming. And so right now we just need some extra funds for coloring, VFX, music score, and also music editing and sound editing. So we're raising about $4,000 and we're 58%. With Kickstarter, you need to get 100%. Even if you get less than $1 of what you raise, they will like completely take it away. So we are working towards getting to 100% funding right now.
Okay, so yeah, we want to put up on the screen your Kickstarter?
In psychology, there is a philosophy that was created by John Locke. And it was the theory that when children were born, they are blank slates, meaning that what fills that slate throughout their development are things that they acquire through their sensory. You know, what they hear, what they can feel, what they can touch, what they can see. So the first environment that we are exposed to is our household. You know, what our parents are doing, what they're saying to us or around us. So I do believe that is what begins to fill that slate when children are that young.
So of course this documentary is entitled You Think You Grown, a phrase us Black girls have heard for a very long time. When you hear that, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
It's pretty much anytime you're doing anything outside of what people believe a child should be doing. And that definition varies from person to person. It's anything from talking to listening, to speaking, to not moving fast enough, not moving slow enough. You know, all of those things, any behavior, depending on who it is, determines what grown is.
I think of innocence removed. I think of adultification. I think of children who are not allowed to be children. And specifically, I think of Black women who are not allowed to have innocence in childhood and play with toys and be children until they want to become women. I think of Black women who have been forced into maturity well before they are ready for it.
Now, we left off in the last segment about facing those fears. Let's talk about first what inspired you to do this documentary, because like I mentioned to you earlier, the subject matter was like it hit close to home. It was something that easily resonated with me, and I think a lot of Black women also. So I want to let you just speak on it. You Think You Grown, which was the perfect title.
Thank you. Oh, wow. I'll start from the concept and then the title.
Right.
So I'll take us back to 2014. I'm 20 at the time, and there's a viral petition for begging Beyonce to straighten Blue Ivy's hair.
Ah, I remember that.
You remember that.
Yeah.
Because we got 20,000 signatures.
Mm-hmm.
And this wasn't just a conversation that was happening online. It was in a beauty supply. It was in a beauty shop. It was in a barber shop. Like, damn, when is Beyonce going to shape? Like, damn, like,
I know.
24 months ago, she was not, her enzymes did not come together to make her.
You know what I mean?
You know?
Why were we so concerned with her hair in the first place?
Because you are a Black girl and you have to look and present exactly the way we want to. And it just, so that was the first moment that I felt that feeling I told you about, right?
Right.
3 years. At this point, it's 2017. I'm in therapy and I'm teaching at the same time. So now I'm like healing my inner child.
What are you teaching?
So I was at PAL. After school, I was teaching poetry and creative writing.
Okay. I was just curious. Go ahead.
And so I'm healing my inner child, but then I'm in the midst of children and I'm in a school where adultification just rings open. And I'm watching, and this is the first time I grew up in predominantly Black areas. So up until college, I went to school with predominantly Black kids.
Right.
90 to 95% Black kids. So I had never experienced having white students, pairs with me, white teachers, of course, in that experience, which we can get into later, but never just the peer-to-peer. So I'm watching and I'm listening the way administrators are talking about these Black girls.
Oh, wow.
Girls. And I'm floored, Dee. I am like, are you kidding me? Because I'm also learning how precious and how valuable that childhood is and how it never leaves us and it affects everything.
Right.
So from that day, I started researching. And for 5 years straight, there was a Georgetown research that came out about the adultification of Black girls. And that was the article. I still have it in my iPad, and the date says like March 2017. I read it and coding it and outlining it. And the title, I'll admit, with titles, sometimes it comes to me very late, but this was the only one that came super fast.
Right.
A lot of times as Black women, we have to share a lot of the space when we talk about oppression. You know, we can't say Black women, we gotta say Black people, because we can't, forget Black men. And then we can't say Black woman, because we gotta say woman of color, because I am not a woman of color. I don't know that experience of a woman.
Right.
No, the Black woman's experience. And so what you think and adultification does affect other races of women. It affects Black men. But I wanted, from the moment that my audience read the title, to know that this is intentionally, specifically for you.
Right.
Because we don't get that.
No, we don't get that. And thank you for that. Just the fact that, you're focusing on us, because let me read this. This is one of the things that I researched about in that subject. And these are things that I've heard before, but they were saying that Black girls need less nurturing, less protection, less support, less comfort, which broke my heart when I read that. I was like, is that, I had to read it, 2 or 3 times. I was like, less comfort. Okay. I know that they feel that we're less, notice I said we, Take me back to my childhood, less innocent, more adult-like, which in turn gets us into the adultification. And they meaning Black girls, know more about adult topics. They know more about sex. They are more independent. I'm going to stop there. That's enough right there on the plate. I mean, the fact that Black girls there's complete erasure of their childhood.
Yes. I asked a beautiful woman, Uchechi. She was on the Grapevine TV. If any of you guys have ever listened to that show, she is dynamic. She's a cultural analyst. And I knew, because I've been working on this for so many years, I knew some of the women that I was going to pull in for this. And I asked her about the transition into womanhood. And she was like, there is no transition. I don't remember when there was a moment where, okay, this child innocent part of you has to now transition into this. That never happens. Like, she was like, I was catcalled at 10.
Right.
My men in their 40s. What transition am I experiencing from that? A lot of times with research that I did find with adultification, they started in school. I wanted to start at home, because before we are chastised at school, it happens at the house.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It starts even innocently as a little girl dancing and her hips. I just got this body and I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna move with it. And it's you being grown, you being fast, you're being tantalizing.
Right. Or the thing I found interesting too, especially raising my own 2 daughters, was policing what they wore. Because if it showed too much, or if it was too short, or, I didn't want them attracting the attention of some grown ass man. You know what I mean? So I found myself like in a battle about what kind of clothes they had on, what showed too much. And then God forbid, young Black girls, when they start puberty hits, developing, because this is like you're saying, getting catcalled at 10, which is disgusting and terrifying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm so glad that you said that, Dee. While we were doing some of the pre-interviews, so before we shot, I did some pre-interviews just to get an idea of what some of these women were going to bring to the film. And my casting director had put a cast out for some of the children that we see as B-roll. And a principal was like, I am so moved by this. I don't know if you have all the people yet that you would like to film for the documentary, but I would like to speak to my experience. She's a principal in Memphis, and she's taught at a predominantly Black school, predominantly white school. And we spoke about policing versus protection, and what the fine line is between that. Because as women, especially as Black women, we were just born into this patriarchal world, this misogynistic world, and we're just trying to navigate it the best way we know how.
Plus with the intersection of, race
race and gender. I mean, that takes so much, because even in the documentary, we start out with identifying what is a child, because I find that adults don't even understand the comprehension of a child. This child is not intentionally trying to
be seductive.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they're just dancing to Cardi
And if you find a child seductive, something is wrong.
Hello. And that's internally with you. And we talk about doing the work. So we start with like what is a child and what is a child's comprehension. And then we get into intersectionality, because of course, it all stems from slavery. It all stems from our humanity, our childlike being stripped from us, because we were seen as working the land just as the adults were.
Right.
So it has just trickled all the way down through the Mammy, Sapphire, Jezebel archetype, all the way till now.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about how she would, tell girls, okay, don't wear that, and don't do that because you're going to attract
this. This is the principle you're talking about, right? Uh-huh.
And she's just like, there's so much reworking she's had to do, but internally first. Because I can't rework it with you if I still have these internalized thoughts.
Right.
And so she was like, I had to go on a full self cleanse to get my mind right, so that I could speak to these women accordingly and respectfully, and take the villain-esque words and verbiage around it. You're attracting this man. You're gonna get that. I remember so beautifully you talk about clothes. Me and my friend had on the same dress, and because she has hips and thighs, she was sent home and I wasn't. And we get into even body shape. And the way your body looks in clothes can even be sexualized. And you're just simply going through puberty. You didn't know you was going to get these boobs and hips, and now you're on display in this way, as if you had done this to others. It's such a mindful.
Oh my goodness, you hit some great points. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get into more about the adultification of young Black girls with my guest Chanel Dupree right here on the Black Star Network, The Frequency.
When you talk about Blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Back right here on The Frequency. I'm your host, Dee Barnes, and my special guest, the director, screenwriter, Chanel Dupree, and we're talking about her new documentary, You Think You've Grown. Chanel, please join me again.
Always.
You really hit a nerve, and I was thinking about it the whole time during the break when you said policing versus protecting. And I really had to think about back when I was raising not even my own childhood, even though some of those thoughts came in, but with my two daughters, and how did I even strike a balance? Or was I being too protective, or was I being too much policing? Let's talk about that more. Like, when you talk to the kids in the documentary, what were some of the things that you focus on without giving too much away? Because I really want people to see this.
Yes. So I was able to cast 3 incredibly beautiful teenage girls, and I sat with them because I was like, I can't have this documentary where I'm saying, listen to the youth, and I'm not speaking to no youth.
Right.
And I just allowed them the floor. And one thing that we spoke about, of course, I asked them about the phrase, have they ever heard it, their experience in schools, but I also gave them the opportunity to let us know what we can do to ensure that they continue to have their childhood, that other Black girls can have it as well. And the main thing they said was listening. Listening and understanding not even their words, but understanding that you may be interpreting my words because of patriarchy, because of misogyny. Right. Because I am a Black girl that lives in this skin, in this space, in all of it, because sometimes they ask us to choose between one or the other.
Right.
Not.
Plot twist. Plot twist. Okay, but go ahead. Okay. I love it.
Their main thing was listening. One of the examples they had so beautifully you said about clothes was they're like, I so innocently just want to wear these shorts because I like my legs and it's hot. I think seeing the innocence in what the girl is saying and not thinking that there's an underlayer of deceit. Right. I think that is where we start the protection part, because the projection is I'm projecting onto you that no, you want the attention. You want people to look at you in this sexual way. When in your child mind, I just really like my legs and it's hot outside. So I think understanding that we are communicating with children. Right. And yes, of course they're going to rebel, but a lot of just their natural expression, they just got to this earth and they're learning who they are. So I think that's one of the main things is when you speak to a Black girl, when you're sitting in front of one, whatever bias, try to move it to the back.
That's deep. That's deep. Yeah, you're giving me a lot to think about as far as I've done some teaching myself from preschool to 5th grade.
Oh, beautiful.
Art, but I still had a classroom full of, girls and boys, predominantly Black school, private school. So I'm thinking about, and, they had uniforms. So everybody was, but still skirt, how high, shirt, how, this, that, and the other thing. But that really stuck out to me, this policing versus protecting, because I really question now how much of it, that I do, and then how much of it is done to Black girls in general. Because I know, for example, a lot of Black girls, in particular in school, they get dress coded. And, maybe other students, Latino, white students, even Asian students, they have on the same outfit maybe, but it's perceived differently on a Black girl, or maybe they're developing fast and it's just, but it's really something internalized within the person that's doing the policing.
Exactly. So many of these women, and I watched them even in the pre-interviews when I asked them, they were like, oh God, I have to go back and think. I watched them go back to their 12-year-old selves. One beautiful woman, Dr. Nikki, I spoke to a lot of therapists. She's one of them. And she is specific in sexual trauma therapy for Black women.
Right.
And she talked about when she had on uniform, and because she got a booty, it hiked up in the back.
Yes.
She had to kneel on rice her whole class period.
Why?
Because.
Was that punishment? A form of punishment?
Punishment. One of the teenagers, she said that her friend had on a skirt, and a teacher said, that shouldn't be out, and grabbed her behind up her skirt. One of the other girls, when I was talking about it on Twitter, this woman was like, oh my God, you know, I went through this when I was a kid. She wore something, it was a maxi dress, but the way it fit on her body, this female teacher thought that she looked too grown and spun her around in front of a male teacher and said, do you think she looks grown, right?
Oh my God.
And that's a whirlwind. I think we need another hour to even dissect that story alone. And so it kind of goes back to that original thing where it's like, Black girls, we try to, okay, if I cover my arms, if I cover my shoulder blades, if I do this, if I wear the uniform, okay, I'm going to have a day where I'm not police, I'm not adultified. And then now I'm kneeling on rice because I have a butt.
That is so wrong. I can't even believe that they would even, you know, and then what does that do to a young girl in their development and growing up? Like, I mean, the self-consciousness kicks in, self-hate, and then, you know, then they have the issue with, you know, can be self-harm.
100%. Yes. We have different chapters in the film, and we have the chapter, the effects on adulthood. And I spoke to the therapist about.
I want to hold off on that. I want to get into the adult part next. And I didn't mean to cut you off on that thought, so please hold that thought. I want to throw now to your to the trailer for the film. Yeah. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about the adult part of it and how to dismantle it.
Beautiful.
Let's see the trailer, please, for You Think You Grown.
Adultification bleeds into how we view and handle Black girls. We see them as less humane, but with more consequence. We don't even see the innocence in Black girls. When I got to high school, and that was the first time I was going to take the train, and my mother was like, do not smile on the train. I was like, well, why can't I smile on the train? And she was just like, someone will take something from you. I won't see you anymore. You have to keep this armor over you that lets people know, I don't like you. I don't want you around me. Get away from me. I'm not inviting. I'm not warm. I am not gentle. Get away from me. And that armor stays with us well into our adulthood. And it rarely ever protects us.
I'm saying, you're hurting me really bad, bro. Please get off of me. And she's still standing there letting this happen. Like, exactly. I hate you. I swear to God, I hate you. I swear to God, I hate you. I swear to God, I hate you, bro. You're the worst teacher ever. You get me taken out of here because I want to apologize. Because I want to apologize. You started yelling at me.
Well, my mother used to say that pretty much all the time if I formed an opinion of my own. It didn't matter what it was. If I didn't want to wear an outfit that day and I didn't feel like hugging someone or talking to someone, you get the automatic, oh, so you think you grown?
The lack of empathy that we have for Black girl children is a direct correlation to the lack of empathy that we have for Black women. And we see it in our lives and in the media every single day. So you think you grown? Oh, you think you grown? You think you grown? You grown?
Back right here on the frequency, Chanel. That was amazing. Congratulations. So that's the bottom line. Congratulations. This is going to be a great documentary. And I'm excited that you have the Kickstarter to help, finish the film. It really, the whole time I was thinking about my adulthood and you know, the things that happened to me when I was younger and how it affects me now. Because, you know, sometimes you don't give it thought until someone brings it up, which is why, you know, I'm a huge fan of documentaries, because it makes you think about things perhaps you haven't thought about, and it educates you on things that, you know, you knew about, but you didn't know all the details. Right. And one of the things that, you know, you brought up about listening to the young women, but what about women, adult, you know, Black women? Like, I mean, you have them in the film also, and do they talk about what their experiences were when they were younger?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Yeah.
I know. Deep breath, deep breath. I mean, because did you even experience that? Because I remember hearing you think you've grown from my mom, but it wasn't in reference to any type of sexualization. It was me and my mouth. My mouth was like fresh. She was like, oh, you think you've grown? You're talking to me crazy? You lose your mind type thing. But I did hear it in reference to my friends. I did hear it in reference to other girls. Oh, she's fast. And, you know, they projected that on them when men were making the advances.
Yeah.
Men were paying attention, and they were in the wrong. Instead of checking the men, we're checking the children. And
come on now.
I'm gonna let you go ahead.
Come on now. I mean, we see the victim blaming every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that as I was doing the research for a number of years, that we had to talk about the effects on adulthood.
Right.
Because of how important our childhood is, the agency that we feel like we have, the confidence that we feel like we have, you're constantly chastising yourself and overthinking things that are just normal. And did I do this? Or and in any other situations, you immediately blame yourself. You immediately villainize yourself because you were villainized for simple expressions and things when you were a child. You second guess how you speak up for yourself.
Right.
You were never given those tools. So now you're supposed to be an adult that do that. And it's like, in my mind, it's immediately met with punishment or being chastised. So now what do I do? Also, when you don't have the early expressions of just emotions, how do you emote with other people when you get older? How do you emote with yourself? You weren't able to be a reflection of who you are. You were able to be the reflection of society's norms of what a Black girl is, which is all of these umbrellas of oppression. Something so beautiful, a little sneak peek in. Uchechi talks about how Black women, we have a lot of, more than any other demographic, we have stiffness in our hips. Because we're not allowed to move them. And she was like, I think about, the back problems and the shoulder problems I have because I was always told to cower in, to be smaller. And I think about that, and that stayed with me after the filming. And when she said it, all the Black women in the room said, oh, straighten up, honey.
I know, you got me stretching over here. I'm stretching down.
Because we're allowed to cower. This new body that we're given, we're told to make it smaller or make it disappear.
Right.
Whenever we're older, it's like fully express it, be outside. And it's but I don't even know who this is. I only know myself through the reflection of oppression.
Right.
And so I feel like the effects on adulthood, we see it every single day. There's a lot of grown 12-year-olds, just inner child is just rambunctious in there because they weren't given that as a kid. And so it's so important, even as grown women, to go back and reflect on those times. What did that mean for me? So many women, when I would ask them questions, you see, like, my editor sees, of course, them sitting back and, And even as they're answering the question, it's like, I didn't even think about that at the time.
Right.
Someone pointing out, you need a bra, or your breast is getting this big, or your boobs is big, and just pointing out puberty as if you don't know that this happens to you.
Yep.
So many of them are just like, oh, I didn't. And I guess that is why I do this now. And I Like they're piecing it together right now because as Black women, we're told that the puzzle is jumbled and you can't piece it back together. Like,
wait, you got me thinking about my daughters. I have to share. Okay, so one of the ways the policing, and I know that when they watch this, they're gonna. The skirts they wore, I had them wear those little biker shorts underneath all of their skirts because flipping and running and the skirt fly up, you see the panties or whatever. So that was like me trying to police and protect at the same time. And then camis underneath everything. So they now no camis, no everything is like we gonna show what we want to show, we gonna shake what we want to shake. We are grown women now. What you gonna do, Mom? What you gonna do? And that makes me think about the sexualization in the music and which kids listen to. I really want to get into that. I don't know. Do we need to take a break? Let's take a break. We're gonna come back. I want to talk about, because me with the background in hip hop music, we got to talk about the sexualization in music. When we come back right here on The Frequency.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Back right here in The Frequency. I'm your host, Dee Barnes, and my guest, Chanel Dupree. Chanel, join me, please, because we're running out of time, and I really want to make sure we hit all of these marks before we go. We left off about the sexualization, in music. In particular, I'm thinking hip hop because it's my background. Do you tackle that in the film also? Do you talk about that, the influences?
We talk about the influences of music, of also social media, because that's a big thing that the kids
right
now.
I didn't even think about that.
And as we see, they're like bots, specifically bought to spew out hateful messages about Black women now. And the babies are scrolling that even more than they're listening to music. So we definitely get into the sexualization that's within music because, you be bopping and you're like, no, wait a minute, did he just...
Right.
That was violence against a woman.
Yeah. Well, that's the misogyny part. I mean, specifically, I'm talking about I'm not going to mention any artists, but you know what I'm talking about. The whole, I mean, we've had it for the longest, the shaking ass music, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But when little girls see that and then, they imitate it, then is that part of them being adultified, basically, right? Adultification. I mean, that's probably like a whole nother other show. We got to get into it. You might have to have you come back. Have you come back?
Absolutely. I'm gonna send you the film. We have to come back.
The film and have you come back, and maybe we have some therapists on with us. Somebody.
I would love that.
Bring on somebody else, because we really need to go into that deep, because it's not. Yeah. I know there's influences on the children in particular, but it's really what we're focusing on this film is the fact that the world is adultifying Black girls in particular.
Yes. And you so beautifully even said it when it comes down to hip hop and just like the music videos that we see, because, they're mimicking exploitative images. You know what I mean? Like, they're not mimicking like an Andre 3000 video. You know what I mean? And there were videos where we saw like the woman where she's being praised and she's being loved on and poured into, and we've all dreamed of being that. But then we have this other side that we see, and it's like, well, if I'm hearing that I'm too grown and too fast, and you're telling me that my body is already asking for this anyway, and I'm not treated as an adult, as a girl, I'm treated as an adult. People don't even say Black girls. They just say young women.
Yes.
Not that. It's girl and it's woman, period.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so if I see this, well, of course I'm going to emulate it. You said I'm grown anyway. You said that's what I was anyway. So I might as well express in that way even further, because even when I'm not doing it, you think that I'm doing it.
Right. Exactly. And what is the goal of this film? What is your goal to present this to the world?
I want change. I want radical, in-depth self-realization for every single person that's sitting there. I want parents. I want daughters. I want them all to go, ooh, did I say that before?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, have I said that? Oh, I think I said that before. But I also want them to feel seen within their humanity and understand that you were just given this language by your mother and your mother and your mother, and she was given it by an oppressor.
Right.
But I want you to now sit in that and, oh, how do I look at Black girls? How do I look at myself? How do I look at Black women? Mm-hmm. And how does that now reflect on me? Because a lot of times I can hear, some Black women talk really harsh about us. And I'm like, do you not know that that boomerang is
right?
Do you not know? Because it's such a detachment from your identity and from who you are, because we've been told to detach from it since we were kids. Yes. So I really want people to go inward within themselves and figure out better ways to talk to themselves as Black women, also to Black girls and women going forward.
And for us to listen.
Yes.
Which was what your point was in the very beginning. Oh my goodness, Chanel, thank you so much for sharing. This was a very important conversation. I mean, you gave us so much to think about, and I'm really, I'm proud of you. I mean, I know I'm just really knowing you, but I'm so proud of you and what you're accomplishing, and, your filmmaking in particular with this one. I'm going to give my wholehearted support with that. I'm, going to get in there with the Kickstarter myself. And I want to encourage my audience to donate to this, please, because it's such an important subject matter. And I think you're going to enjoy this documentary. Her work is incredible. And, support a young Black sister. This is important, man. This is what we do right here on the Black Star Network. We platform some creative and, have some, incredible conversations. And I just want to thank you for coming on today. This is amazing. And I wish you nothing but good luck. We're going to definitely keep in touch. And I definitely want to have you back on when the film is released, yes, so that we can talk about the conversation. And I hope it, it elevates a national conversation on the, the adultification of Black girls. And thank you for tackling this subject.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Thank you. I think it's like the one of the kind. This is like the only one, I believe, on as far as a full-on documentary about it. So this is great. Thank you. Thank you for coming on, Chanel. I appreciate you.
I am able to create as a Black woman because of the path that you laid out for me. So I thank you. I am your accomplishment. So thank you. I mean, my phone is blowing up because I have an interview with Dee Barnes. And it was like, Dee Barnes,
that's hilarious.
Like, they were like, how the hell does she know you? I was like, I don't know.
That's hilarious. Well, thank you.
And I just
now you know me, and now you can't get rid of me because now I got you. I got you.
I honor you. I
My
value
daughter.
you so much.
Thank you, sis. Thank you, and I honor and value you too. Thank you for coming on.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank is telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Thank you, my audience, for joining us on The Frequency. I hope that you really, get involved with the Kickstarter and really, support this film, You Think You've Grown, by filmmaker Chanel Dupree. It hasn't been released yet, but we will keep you up to date when the release is coming out. And please, check out the Kickstarter. It's going to be an amazing film. And, look at her other work, too, her previous work. It's very interesting. It's very, very good. Well, that's all our time for today. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I'm your host, Dee Barnes. I will check you next time on The Frequency and the Black Star Network. Thank you for joining us.